So let's dive into the main topic here of this episode.
Yeah.
Horror hot takes. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what inspired this. So, over on the Haunted Hangover Patreon page, new thing for this year, actually started with Grimy, who's one of the Haunted Hangover co-hosts here at the show. I'm going to be doing this thing called, it's not even I'm going to be, I am doing it. I've actually recorded 3 episodes, but the listeners haven't gotten the other 2 yet because I'm editing them. But it's called Haunted Hangovers Terrifying 20. And what I'm doing is, anytime I have a guest on the show, I'm going to hit them with these 20 questions. And it could be anything from, favorite Halloween costume or go-to Halloween costume to, a horror hot take, which is what inspired this. I was like, you know what? That's a good thing for us to discuss because I'm so curious what yours are. Obviously, you heard Manny talk about David Lynch earlier, so his horror hot takes are definitely going to be hot. Capital H-O-T. So I was like, you know what? It'd be fun for us to kind of talk about I've never done anything like this because at the end of the day, everything's subjective. Like, who gives a shit what people's hot takes are? But we are a podcast. We are a show. And I just thought it'd be a fun conversation to have, on the podcast. But yeah, that was the main inspiration. So I just was like, let's see what we got. Now, we don't know what each other picked.
No.
So that's kind of the fun in this. I have no idea. We're going to do 3 each. I have no idea what Manny's hot takes are, horror hot takes. He doesn't know what mine are either. Who should go first? I'm going to let you go first, Manny. I want you to go. First horror hot take. Also, before you go, don't want to offend anybody. This is all for fun, guys. We're just having a good time. Talking shit. That's what Manny and I like to do. It's the whole point of this program. Is talking garbage.
Shit.
And honestly, as you can see, Manny and I very rarely agree on things. So that's also but now we do agree on a lot of stuff. But there's stuff we have our own taste in what we like. So yeah, Manny, take it away.
I don't like Hammer horror.
Ooh.
Fuck him.
God. Not even.
Not that much. No. There's okay.
Fuck him. Not even giving it a chance.
No, that's not true at all.
Okay.
That is not true at all. No. So the Horror 365 challenge. This is now my 3rd year that I'm going to do this. Hammer horror has been a blind spot for me for years, for my whole life. When The Quiet Ones came out.
Yeah.
That was the first Hammer horror film I'd ever seen.
Which was like a new one. Which was when they brought Hammer back. So,
yes, exactly. And I'd never seen any of the Chris Lee or Peter Cushing's. I've never seen any of them. They always seemed boring to me. It seemed very, very dated and, old style and everything. And over the last 2 years, I've watched a few. I'm going to say maybe 10 or so I've seen. And because there are a few more that I want to see. I also put them very much in line with, what's the werewolf guy? What's his name? The Spanish director that does the werewolf. Paul Naschy. Very, very similar in style. And I don't like his shit either. I had never seen a Paul Naschy film before like a year or so ago. All right. I'm watching them now and there's 1 or 2 that I like, but for the most part, I think they are very boring. I think that they're very dated and, maybe part of it is just because I'm looking at it in 2024 and 2025 versus watching it then. But these are some of the most misogynistic, shitty fucking things I've ever seen.
It's a product of the time.
It is. It is. But at the same time, I also feel, I think we talked about this briefly when we talked about, what is shit.
Well, funny enough, you mentioned that, again, going back to what I said before, Grimy and I are we've run through like about 6 of the Universal Monster movies. And even in those films, and those were, right now we're in the 30s, and women were looked at less than.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, again, product of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of these Hammer films were, the 60s into the 70s. So, Dude. I'm a fan of Hammer movies. I love Ingrid Pitt movies. I love Vampire Lovers and I forget the name of the Elizabeth Bathory one. I love Twins of Evil. I love
That's the one I was like. Twins of Evil. It's probably my favorite so far.
I love Twins of Evil. I would
But
love
what
for us to.
bothered me,
I want to cover that on a Haunted Hall episode with us. So
yeah, maybe, because my issue with like that is a great film until the ending, and this is where I say,
yeah, I remember you saying this.
It's beyond massage. It's like it's just such a shitty. Like you have a movie about the Twins of Evil, and they have nothing to do with the ending of the film. So what is the point? I just watched one today. I watched Vampire Lovers. Same thing. The whole movie
Vampire Lovers.
And it's another. I liked it. Yeah. I liked it too. It was pretty good. But it's another film where basically we tell the story through the women's eyes, and then in the end we shift the focus. Suddenly now we have to hate them. Like they've been our protagonists through the whole film. We're seeing this through the vampire women's eyes. That's how the story is told. And then in the last half hour or so, they flip it, and now it becomes all about destroying them. You know? And it's kind of like, well, then what are you telling the story like that from the beginning? Why are you framing them as the main character and then just turning them into the villain for Peter Cushing to show up and be a hero?
Dude,
in the
those
last
movies,
half
that
hour?
was the formula.
I know.
I get why you don't like them, but
that's what I don't like.
Dude,
I feel like it's bad writing. That's just shitty writing.
Universal Monsters. It's a different time though. Like we're covering films from the 30s, 60s.
But Vampire Lovers is a story from the 1800s.
No, of course.
That's a vampire story that's older than Dracula.
All those stories, it's all misogynistic. Everything, even the source material is pretty misogynistic. That's a conversation for another day. But even like I said, the Universal Monster films, the Peter Cushing, the Christopher, like the Satanic Rites of Dracula. It's all like you haven't seen that one yet. So like it's all the same thing. It's like the sexy vampire looking for his girl. If you're not into that stuff,
that doesn't bother me.
But I'm saying, but a lot of the times it's like a damsel in distress, and like they don't do anything. They're a MacGuffin. It's every old horror film from the 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. It's not till the 70s is when we started seeing stronger female characters. So it's just a product of the time. Unfortunately, now you're looking at it through the lens of 2025.
And I said that it's because I'm looking at it through now. And I totally get that. So that's my, like, I don't think Hammer horror has aged well. I don't think anybody should really give a shit about it anymore.
Ben Grimm, Satanic Rites, where Dracula gets beaten by a thorn bush. Yes, exactly. I mean, I get it. They're not for everyone. I get it. I respect it. I again, like David Lynch, it's not for everyone. It's if you hate misogyny and you hate kind of like the women being like, oh, like smack the lady. Oh, like, stay in your lane, woman. Like that's not cool.
It's like the original thing from another planet, from another world. But it's like that one. Honestly, the woman is the smartest character in the entire movie. And through the whole movie, she's constantly in this position where she's right and they're wrong.
Dude, Forbidden Planet's like that.
But all she does is get them coffee.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that's where the world was.
I think that's why specifically, I think that's why directly John Carpenter took the women out of it, because I don't think he could write a film with a woman being that fucking useless and still be right throughout the whole thing. He's like, no, I just got to have a bunch of men who are just going to be dumb and make stupid decisions, because if there's a woman around, no, this is not going to work. She's going to tell them that they're idiots, like Alien.
Yeah, and like
one woman who
Forbidden
stands
Planet is like that. Like Leslie Nielsen and all the guys are in love with the one woman. Like she's bathing in the water and whatever. It's just a trope. That's how they wrote screenplays back then.
It's not that so much. Like, oh, she's okay, fine. The sexy woman. I get that. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the objectification. That doesn't bother me, because I feel like it's a thing. That's it.
Yeah.
You know. That's it. You can objectify men too. I don't feel that you need to remove the objectification of women to fix it. I think let's just objectify more men.
But they don't see it that way in the 60s, dude.
No, I mean now. I mean, like now, if you want to fix that there's too much female objectification, then just objectify men in other movies and just balance it out, because
but
I
that's
think there's an
not-
audience
no.
for it no matter what.
Not
I think
not in
there's-
those days. That wasn't going to happen,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
no, I don't
Dude,
mean
women
that. I
didn't
don't-
even wear
no.
pants at a certain point
I understand
in like the
that. And
30s.
no, I'm not
So,
talking about that.
yeah.
I'm talking about if you want to fix it now,
Yeah.
you don't have to. Don't take it out of films. Just do the opposite in other films.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we should have less that like insult comedy movies. I don't think we need to get rid of them. We just need to do other types of comedies. For like in the 90s, everything was insult humor.
No, of
You
course.
know,
It's
all
it's my
comedy
favorite.
film. Yeah, you know, and that's, you know, and people like, oh, well, that movie doesn't go. There's still an audience for that. It
Yeah.
can still exist. You know, if you don't like it, then make a different type of comedy.
Yeah.
Create what you feel is missing. Don't remove what you think there's too much of.
Just to kind of to move on from Hammer, but I can see where you're coming from. Again, product of the time. Movies aren't made like they were back in the day. Today, no one's making a movie like that.
I
you
would
know?
100% today make a Brides of Dracula film done in that Hammer horror and like Jean Rollin style. I would totally want to do that. I've always wanted to for years. Like I love that like lesbian vampire type film. You know, totally objectifying, totally like exploitative type movie.
Yeah.
I just feel like the story is told badly. That's what my problem is. It's
Write
not
that
in the
script, buddy.
Yeah.
Write
My problem
that
is not the
script.
objectification
Yeah.
of Hammer. It's the bad writing. Like, this is terrible. Like, you told one story and then you literally changed it and told a different story because,
Yeah.
you know, men are heroes.
Those movies were making money back in the day, so I don't think
were.
they saw it that way. So
They did 100 and something of them, you know?
it's a good hot take, man. I get it. I respect it. All right, my first hot take, and this is one I'm guilty of. So I'm talking shit about myself and most horror fans here. Now, the VHS aesthetic in horror needs to die. It needs to die. Now, about 2010.
I think they need to get better at it.
No. I think they need to kill it.
Go ahead.
Take it out to the pasture. Put it
over.
out.
You're done with-
Put it out of its misery, dude. I remember 2010 when it was coming back. 2010, 2011, 2012.
We were making our own.
Again, and we
Yes.
started that, but our movie never blew up. We just didn't make a good enough movie.
We did it in 2007 before it was getting popular.
But we didn't know anyone. We didn't know
No.
what we were doing.
No.
Now, move forward. And there was a certain point where it was very popular, the VHS films, and and people were using filters to mimic, you know, promos from back in the day and things like that. I just think the whole VHS and even /80s gimmick, it's done. I mean, I do it here at Haunted Hangover. Like I said, I am guilty of this as well. And I'm trying to wean myself off of it and some of the other stuff I do, my film stuff and things like that, because it's just been done to death. When a TikTok filter or a Instagram filter has a VHS filter, and it's just too much.
It's commercialized.
It's not even about the commercial. It's just everyone is doing it, and like you said, not everyone can do it right. It's a very.
I think most do it wrong.
Dude, people don't use the right aspect ratio, and they don't. It's like
They
it
just
looks
throw
like
a filter on
that, an overlay, and that's
you
it.
watch a movie,
Yeah.
and then I'm watching the filter loop for 90 minutes. And
Yes.
that's
And so to me, it's like I think people need to stop using it as a crutch in podcasting, in videos on YouTube, in film. The horror community is very guilty of this. Not everyone. You know, everyone's got like that VHS glitch in the beginning. Again, I do it. But I just think everyone, all of us as a collective, need to slowly wean ourselves off of it. And maybe, and I look like shit right now in the video because my lighting isn't great, but like maybe use some more creative lighting. Maybe, you know, do something different. And 80s too. You know, Maxine last year. Okay, fine. Let's stop that too. Let's stop with the 80s. You know, make your film in a world where there's no cell phones if you don't want to use cell phones. Create your own universe. I don't think the period 80s stuff, it's just been done to death, and I think we got to move on. That's my first hot take.
I don't entirely disagree with you.
Yeah.
I don't even partially disagree with you. I mostly agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, I like it. I think that it's a product of the fact that the people like us are the creators now. We grew up watching that, and we watched in the 90s and 2000s when the whole CG thing took over and it was just really bad. And we watched horror films become a joke of themselves. We watched horror films become this studio thing that was going to cast the hottest and the prettiest and the most popular actors of all time, or of the time, and stick them all in one horror film after another, just to and we all said, what the hell happened to horror? How did Wes Craven, who basically created the horror of, he was responsible for a lot of the horror aesthetic of the 80s itself. Nightmare on Elm Street was the trailblazer. Yeah. Everyone wanted to be Nightmare on Elm Street. Halloween, I understand Halloween was what kickstarted it, but Nightmare on Elm Street took the lead. Freddy was the biggest horror star in the 80s, and everyone wanted to be that. But there was still a level of authenticity to it. Where it's like you can't just do Freddy again. You have to do something different. Mm-hmm. And you had your big three with Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers and a lot of, imitations, but they all had their own little bit of authenticity to it. And I feel like when we hit our teens and our 20s and Wes Craven brought back the slasher, then it ended up being the same thing he did with Scream, what he did with Nightmare on Elm Street. And everyone wanted to be Scream, and they became carbon copies of Scream. Yeah.
Well, that was
every movie had two killers. Yeah. Every movie had a twist killer. The
late 90s slasher resurgence.
Yes. The late 90s, early 2000s, all of them had to be self-referential horror films. And it was like, there's no authenticity here. You're just trying to copy something that already exists. And even Scream, I feel, by part 3 became a carbon copy of itself. They just kept doing the same thing. Every movie had two killers in the end for some really random, weird, off the fucking cuff, out of left field reason as to why they were killing. Even Wes Craven carbon copied himself, and the later Scream films are just not authentic anymore. They're just trying to recreate that first film over and over again, to the point where a film inside of the film is telling this. There's a movie in a movie trying to be Scream.
I mean, so everything everything is influenced by its predecessor. Everything before it that's come out. I get that.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's why the 80s thing is now, because the people who grew up with that being their childhood are now old enough to be the creators in the film and the writers, and we're just trying to get it back to what it was before. The problem is a lot of them don't realize it wasn't about it being the 80s. It was just about some level of authenticity to what you're writing and the movie you're making. You're not trying to make a bad movie back then. You didn't have a choice. They didn't have the money to make a good film. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm not, there's directors that have done it really well, like House of the Devil and Hobo with a Shotgun. That's more grindhouse though, like film grain. Mm-hmm. But there's been people that have done really good jobs in kind of that 80s, retro VHS vibe. Even the VHS movies, they're still doing it, and I like some of those. But I just feel like, I don't know, it's just everyone's like, everything is a VHS filter now, and I'm just like, I'm over it. Music videos that are like, and like I said, dude, I have, and you know this, at least I could give you like 5 to 10 videos I've directed, music videos I've produced, things like that, content for Haunted Hangover that I use the VHS filter and the aspect ratio for it, and I glitches. Again, I do it, but I just think Look, Laura said it needs to die in the best Dr. Loomis impression. I will not embarrass. I am a terrible impressionist. So can you do a Dr. Loomis impression of It Needs to Die? Man,
I don't think I've ever tried.
It needs to die. I don't know. It'd be terrible. I'm a horrible impressionist. Not good.
I do impressions. I've never tried it. Never tried a doctor.
Never
needs to die.
It needs to die. But yeah, just the VHS kind of 80s aesthetic. Let's let it go. Buster Rhymes, do you agree with us?
Yeah, I agree. Mother.
Oh wait, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Motherfucker.
Can't forget the most important part of that sentence. Hopefully you guys could hear Buster Rhymes clearly there. But Manny, next hot take.
Okay, well this one's a little bit more positive, but it's a hot take.
Okay.
It's a positive one. This is a good one. But it's a hot take nonetheless.
Yes.
The what year was it? 2023 was it? Whatever. The Netflix Texas Chainsaw is the best one since the original. Wipes the fucking floor with every single one of them.
All right.
It is, you can combine all of them together. It is not as good as this fucking movie.
This is why we're friends. As much as we drive each other crazy for fucking 20 something years, whatever, how long we've known each other. Want to know what my next hot take is? I think all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films are fun.
I hate them all.
There you go.
Fuck them
you
all.
like the last one.
I like the last, and 3D was fun.
So here. Now that these are kind of coming together, because it's technically it's all like the same. It's like you like the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I do too. Mm-hmm. I think all of them. I can watch any Texas Chainsaw Massacre film in that franchise, and I'm entertained by it. Are they good movies? Hell no. There's some poor entries, but I'm still, for some reason, entertained by it. Let's run down, and we're going to end it with the 20, was it 2022, right? 2022 Texas
2022, 23, something, yeah.
So, Texas Chainsaw 1, no denying its impact. It's one of the best horror films of all time. Yes, he's right there. I have that same image on a jean jacket as a back patch. Texas Chainsaw 2, it goes a different route. Chop top, whatever.
Another one of those off the
Hopper.
fucking cuff Dennis Hopper when he was okay until the chainsaw fucking stirrups, and it's like, nope, you lost me. You fucking lost me.
I love all the ridiculous stuff. I love all the radio with I forget Caroline Williams' character's name. It's completely escaped my. She has like a more masculine name.
I can't remember.
I like all that. The Oingo Boingo song in the beginning, No One Lives Forever. It's like the MTV Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. I am entertained by it. My wife hates that movie. When I put it on
until a point.
Yeah, I get that. I put it on. She goes, "This is the stupidest movie. How is this movie part 2?
Fucking stupid.
I am entertained by it. Part 3.
I will accept Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers as a better sequel than any of those fucking things.
I love that movie too. Texas Chainsaw 3. I Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw 3. I love Ken Foray in that movie. Viggo Mortensen is Stretch. Thank you.
Stretch.
Ben corrected a Stretch. It was like, it's not a masculine name. It's just a weird.
No, it's just
a name. Stretch.
Because she's tall.
Yes. Texas Chainsaw 3. Viggo Mortensen. Ken Foray. The metal Leatherface song by, I forget, is it Lazarus, I think is the band that plays the song. Great. Part 4, Matthew McConaughey being a psychopath.
Part 4 is where it was stupid, but it was fun. It's fun. It gets so stupid.
I think they're all fun.
The whole government thing is just
that came out of nowhere. That was never paid. They never paid off that twist ending either. They couldn't. I like his crazy performance. Renee Zellweger is the lead final girl.
Lead victim, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Again, I enjoyed his nutty performance, the kind of like full-blown trans Leatherface in that. I loved every performance in that movie, even though it's bonkers and makes no sense. I like the first remake. Is it better than the original Texas Chainsaw? Hell no. It doesn't even compare. But I enjoyed it for what it is. Ari Ermi as the sheriff, and that wonderful shot when the girl shoots herself and the camera goes through the bullet hole. I dig it. I dug the prequel to the remake.
I hated the prequel.
Dude,
and Leatherface.
Everyone dies in that
the
movie.
Beginning was.
I love the ending because she thinks she's escaped. Jordana Brewster, I think it was. She thinks she's gonna escape, and Leatherface literally
I like her.
pushes his chainsaw through the front seat of the car and it comes out of her. Sick. Is it a great movie? No.
Yeah.
I think it's entertaining. It's Texas Chainsaw 3D. Alexander Daddario.
I saw that in the theater.
That's it.
She's
great.
I saw that one in the theater, and
Yeah.
honestly, the best part of it is it's just not on the home. Did you see it in theaters at all?
I did. I saw the 3D version. Yes.
Yes, and the 3D version was so cool because
fun,
they took the ending of the first movie and they put the ending of the original and they made that in 3D, and it was so cool to see it that way, But the whole problem with the only real problem with that is that she's not old enough to have been.
No, continuity is all screwy in that.
But I have seen some people point out that now, today, she is the age that she should have been in that movie.
Okay.
And she hasn't fucking changed.
Yeah. She's a vampire.
She doesn't look any older
looks
now
exactly
than
the
she
same.
did. Exactly. So
She
it's like,
is a
okay.
vampire.
Yeah, she's close to 40 now.
She's my age.
Which is how old
Yeah.
she's how old she should have been in the first movie in Texas 3D. And she looks, so it's like, all right, fine.
I mean, who doesn't love Alexander Daddario? She's great. So,
Yes.
I mean, that one gets a pass. I didn't hate the kind of gritty, weird prequel.
Leatherface?
I didn't think.
It was just dumb.
I mean, I think that was
made
the
no
Inside
sense.
Guys. What wasn't it? Or no? Maybe I'm wrong with that. Maybe it wasn't the Inside Guys. Regardless, I dug, it was weird. You didn't know which one was Leatherface and the guy you didn't expect. I mean, still not a great movie, but I was entertained. No. And then it takes me to the last one with the Gen Z influencer kids that go to this town and Leatherface kills all of them. You've got that great scene. Chris and I reviewed it on the show when it came out. I dug it. I love the ending where they think they're going to escape and the older sister is pulled. She's pulled. It reminds me of the Jordana Brewster remake prequel.
I think
entry.
this was telegraphed better. This was done better.
with the a solo whatever automatic whatever self-driving car. I dug it. I think, and this goes back to me as a person. I say the same thing about all the Friday the 13th films, all the Halloween films. I don't say it about all the Child's Play movies. I hate Seed of Chucky.
I don't see. That's another hot take there.
Yeah.
I think that Chucky fell off when
Tiffany.
when she showed up.
Okay.
I think that ruined the franchise.
It changed the whole franchise. Again, I wouldn't say that about Child's Play, but Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Friday the 13th. I think these films are all fun. I mean, you could pop them on in the background. You don't have to pay much attention to them. You can edit. You can work on a screenplay. You can do some Photoshop. They're just movies that are entertaining. Oh, someone got their head chopped off. Oh, someone got their arm chopped up. Oh, there goes Leatherface chasing somebody. Like, in my mind, they're just entertaining. And I agree. The last one was a lot of fun. I dug it. I thought
loved
it was
loved it.
That's my second hot take. I think all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films are fun. They're not. Are they great movies? No. But I see a lot of people say, oh, they suck. This one sucks. That one's better. I think they're all silly, except for the first. That's a classic. There's no touching that one. But they're all silly, but they're all fun. That was my second. I love how our hot takes merged into one big one there. Ben says the guy who wrote Hellfest wrote Leatherface. I
haven't seen Hellfest.
I love Hellfest. I actually want to cover that on the show because that's a Halloween set film, and that's
I think I have the DVD.
So
I got
good.
it at
So
Dollar
good.
Tree, but I never watched it.
it's a lot of Hellfest is a lot of fun. I saw it in the theater when it came out. I thought it was a really good time. As a haunt guy, I just fell in love with that movie when I saw it. And yes, I will always say that to the grave. every Texas Chainsaw Massacre film so far has there's some value in it, in my opinion. I love how that was your, I love how
That's funny.
both of our middle picks are about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Dude,
That's funny.
2022, man, it's just violent, gory.
It is.
It was just, it's fun.
That scene of her under the floorboards is
great.
Is
Shit
more
falls
intense
on her.
than. Yeah, I'm like, that scene is so intense, and I feel like that is more intense than all of them. Like none of them hit that level of intensity. And I know a lot of people complained about that. I'll cancel you. And yes, it's kind of dumb, but that is directly correlates to the original film. In the original film, they're a bunch of hippies.
Yeah.
It's 1974. People hated hippies. Just like we hate the millennial Gen Z thing of that whole, like, everything's on, I'm going to make you famous and make you insta famous and all that. The hippies sitting there talking about astrology in there. And, she says, meat is murder. People shouldn't kill cows. Yeah. People felt the same way then about those characters that you felt about the ones on the bus taping the whole thing. Taping. See the word taping. No, recording the whole thing. That whole Instagram and that whole Instagram thing, the influencers and everything. Those are the hippies today. Obviously, the politics are different.
Yeah.
Because the hippies were, the commune thing, but nonetheless, that pop culture of today is the same as it was. It's a direct correlation. Having a bunch of young kids that are quite ignorant about the world outside their little bubble suddenly being introduced to this world. That's what the original film was, and that's what this film was. And I don't think any of them have been that, where this core group of people who are truly in a little ignorant teenage early 20s bubble, discovering a psychotic murderer in the middle of nowhere, and that's why I liked it. It had the spirit of the original film, and John Larroquette is back.
Yeah, listen, I when it came out, I dug it. I actually have to rewatch it. It's been a while, but that is funny. Our two picks are both Texas Chainsaw.
My only nitpick with it is that Sally Hardesty was not needed in that.
No, they tried to kind of copy what Halloween did with their requel.
She was unnecessary. It was cool, but then it went nowhere. And it's like, well, that was stupid.
All right. So I guess I'll just jump.
But I love that actress.
Yeah, she's great. She was in what did I see her in recently? I watched something and she was in it.
Yeah.
Was it Azrael? No.
Yes.
Was it Azrael? No, maybe it was something else. I don't know.
I think it's Azrael.
I don't know.
Yeah. She's in another one that's coming out that I saw last year.
Yeah.
At Overlook. I'll look it up and I'll let you know.
I just love how both of our picks. By accident. We had no idea we both mentioned Texas Chainsaw Massacre there in the middle. Mm-hmm. You loving the final one and hating all the other sequels, and me thinking all the sequels are fun. So I'll just go into my third pick then. I'll just go to my final hot take, since we kind of crushed 2 in 1 there.
Oh. Owen Fury. That's how her name. She's in The Northman.
The Northman. That's what I watched recently. Okay.
She's in Mandy. She's in that. She's in The Watchers.
She's great.
She is. She's great.
She looks
All
like
You
a
Need
Viking.
Is Death is the new film.
She looks like she belongs in some Viking stuff.
She's Irish. She's born in Ireland.
Yeah, the white hair and all that's pretty sick. Sick look. Yeah,
she was in what did she just? She was just in something. What was it? She was just in.
I don't know that movie. What was it? I haven't seen it yet.
No, it's not out yet.
It's not out yet.
Very new. It's
2026, huh? While you look that up, I'm going to.
All You Need Is Death.
All You Need Is Death. That's the one.
Okay. I saw that at Overlook last year, and they said she was so busy they had to really.
She was running around.
They had to tighten it. They were so lucky they got her. She was available for 3 days, and they were like, all right, they flew her in, they shot all her stuff back to back.
Sick.
And that one's about a haunted folk song. The song is haunted.
She works in a lot of folky stuff. Yes. She's just tailor-made for that actress. All right, let me go into my third one here, and then we'll wrap it up with your final hot take. Now this one, I would not call myself a fashion guru. Mm-hmm. I'm not Not the guy.
Not the
Not a fashion guy. I'm a hoodies, t-shirt, jean, and hat guy. As you guys can see, you've been seeing for 5 years now if you followed Haunted Hangover at all. I'm not an accessory guy. I'm not one of those dudes that I'm not a flashy dude. But my third, and again, I'm not offending anyone. And I'm curious what Manny thinks of this because I know Manny has a lot of these, as do I. I don't know if it's just me, but horror t-shirt designs have been pretty crappy the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Paul Bearer Press, buddy.
Now, let me continue. I don't know what's going on. And I'll be honest, I don't follow, like, on Instagram, I don't follow a lot of horror movie t-shirt companies anymore. I really don't, because I think a lot of their designs are, and I'm not going to say any. You said a name. I'm not going to.
No, I was in positive. That was a positive.
I'm just not going to say names.
That was a positive.
I only really follow friends of the show. So, like, shout out to Razors in the Night. Razors, like, he's a friend of the show. He does great work. I love his stuff. I think but he's it's one guy. He does everything. And I think right now, before I get into my critique, my hot take, I think a lot of the smaller brands are killing it now. The companies that are one or two people, I think they're destroying the horror t-shirt game currently in the landscape of horror t-shirt companies. A lot of the bigger ones, no names, there's a lot of them. There's fucking so many. Their t-shirts just look like they're lifting Blu-ray covers. They're too noisy. There's too much going on. Again, this is a matter of taste. Maybe it's not my style, but maybe it's yours. Listeners, Manny, whoever. There's too much neon, bright reds, pinks, someone's decapitated head in the corner, the main killer guy in the beginning, a zombie. Too much going on. It looks like a Scream Factory Blu-ray has been lifted and put on a t-shirt, and it's the entire thing. And I'm just not feeling it. And there's a lot of companies doing that. And they're putting it on baseball tees and on t-shirts and on jerseys. And I'm just like, it's borderline kind of corny. It just doesn't look cool. It's almost like it's becoming dated in a way. It's almost like a more minimalist design, maybe 2 or 3 colors, something a little more, I don't know, I don't want to use this word, a little more conservative looks kind of cool. And maybe that's just me now, in my age maybe, but I look at some of these companies, I'm like, oh, that's an ugly shirt. Like, there's just too much going on here. The colors are not muted. It's so bright. It's just not my cup of tea. So that's my third horror hot take. I just think just too much, especially the neon stuff and all. Like, listen, I'm wearing a Reptar t-shirt underneath here, so I'm not you can't.
I got the burbs. This doesn't get much more simple than this.
Oh, that's great.
Simple.
That's great. I don't know if it's just maybe it's just me. Dude, some of them I'm just like, oh. I
agree.
One more thing. Let me finish my thought here.
Go ahead.
And I get this is a business, and you got to make some money. I think we've had enough Halloween shirts. I think we've had enough Friday the 13th shirts. I think we've had enough Nightmare on Elm Street shirts. And I get it. They're making you guys money. But dude, you barely even see a Hellraiser shirt these days. I'm like, what?
Well,
and that Hellraiser is super popular. Again.
Well, the reason for that, a lot of that is because the fucking Weinsteins own most of Hellraiser.
Which I get it. Like, it's easier for them to get the licensing.
They can't get the license.
It's hard.
Harvey Weinstein won't fucking sell anything.
And a lot of the indie guys are doing bootlegs. They're not getting the license. They're just, and again, in my opinion, producing some of the best shit. And I just think some of these bigger companies, you can tell they're just hiring like 3 artists and pumping out design after design. They obviously have a factory. They obviously can press these shirts quickly and make, 500 of them and then sell them to mass audience. And it's cool. I respect that, and a lot of these companies came from just being 1 or 2 people, but now they're huge. But guys, maybe look at some of these smaller, maybe I'm missing it because I don't follow a lot of them, but look at some of these smaller independent guys.
Yeah.
And kind of follow them. Even some of the fits of the shirts suck. I forgot who. I'm not even going to say the name. I bought a shirt. It was an extra large. It still felt so snug.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Those slim cut shirts, get rid of them. Get something a little boxier, it fits you a little better. I don't know. Just my opinion. I respect all of them. They're hustling. They're doing their thing. And if you like the shirt that has it looks like Freddy Krueger vomited on it, that's cool. It's no big deal. I'm not wearing it, but you can have at it. It just looks like a Blu-ray cover. Just copy and paste it on a T-shirt. I don't know. Just me, maybe. What were you going to say, Manny?
I agree. For the most part, I agree, because I think that there's a couple of the, like you say, the bigger ones, and it just feel like all the shirts are starting to look the same. It looks like Blu-ray covers. It's got a whole bunch of shit happening and it's just big, bright colors, huge, and it's just like, it looks so dull. There's a couple of them that I haven't bought from in a while, just because it's like,
let's not say any names, man.
No,
let's not let it slip.
No, that I haven't bought from, or one or two here or there, but there's a couple that I would buy from religiously a long time ago, like maybe 6-7 years ago, that I don't even check their sites anymore, because I don't have to, because number one, it's going to be thrown in front of me just through Instagram and Facebook. I'm gonna be bombarded with their ads.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for me to even look them up.
You don't even need to follow them anymore at this point. The algorithm knows you're a horror guy.
Yes, and it's gonna show me them. But like you said, like there's the smaller ones. I'm gonna throw it down because they're my favorite. Is Paul Bearer Press is my favorite. I have a nice little collection of Lucio Fulci movie shirts. I got Enigma, and I got a couple of House by the Cemeteries, and the Beyond.
I think they're the only ones doing Fulci. Some of the other big ones, I don't think are.
There are a couple others, but they're making great ones. I got John Rollins shirts from them. I mean, and some of them are the French poster.
Yeah.
And a lot of their designs, I actually found, I can't think of his name, but the artist that did the one of the House by the Cemetery, I found him on Blue Sky, and I'm watching a lot of his other art. That's like, holy crap, man! I want to hire him to do my poster someday, because you know what I like about Paul Bearer Press? They have that style. It almost feels like an old heavy metal album cover.
They put a lot of distressing on there. They distress their images a lot, from what I remember, right?
Specifically, well, this artist does a lot of theirs, and he does it all on. It's almost like a needlepoint ink.
Ah, okay.
He showed the type of pen that he had.
Craftsmanship in it.
Yeah, there's a specific pen that he uses that gets this type of detail that he gets, and it's like, I bet that's what you get out of like an old Danzig album cover or something. Like this is what it gives you, that feeling of like, this is a horror movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, I get it's taste. It's what you like. I mean, and I don't want to like yuck anyone's yum. I think I said that not that long ago.
People could like them all they want. It's
whatever you like.
It's
my opinion. Yeah, I just think it's just too much. Sometimes I look at some of these brands, I'm like, oh, what is that? And again, shout out to Razors in the Night. He was on the show last year. I got to get him on again. Cover something. One Man Army. He just released a sick Hellraiser shirt, but it's a Suffocation shirt. So it's the band, death metal band. And again, I'm a death metal guy, obviously, so I'm gonna lean more towards stuff like that. It's literally Frank's face stretched out in black and white.
I've seen that,
and then it says Suffocation. That's pretty cool.
I've seen that.
And he has. And when we had him on the show, we talked about it. Dave and I talked about it with him. He has the best, and you can't get it now. I don't think he's printed up anymore. But he has the best Hell House T-shirt. It looks like an old haunted house attraction T-shirt. It's the best. So in my end, and he's a friend of the show. Maybe that's a cop out. Maybe that's why. But I think he's doing, and there's some others, but he's doing some great work, and he's doing what I think more of these bigger companies should be doing. It's like, come on, guys, fine, you want to make a Nightmare on Elm Street shirt, but maybe less colors. Not everyone wants to wear neon.
Man. Some of those Freddy shirts I'm seeing, they look like cartoons.
Yeah, it's so bad.
So bright.
So bad. And I'm just like, maybe, ease up on that and maybe eliminate some of those brighter colors.
Everything is just bright and airbrushed.
It's like, yeah, every now and then you want a bright colored shirt, but not not all
not
the
every
time.
one of them. Yeah, but it's just that's the way it's going. It's
whatever. It's what it is. I will not be spending my money on those guys. So sorry. All right, Manny, let's wrap up the show. What's your final hot take here? So we can
it's
close
funny.
it out.
My final one kind of correlates to yours, but it doesn't.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with t-shirts.
Okay.
No, it's the spirit of what you're saying is the same.
Can't wait to hear this.
Here come
deep sigh. That's
frightening. I'm waiting for here come the swords. I do not think there should be a best horror category at the Oscars.
Whoa.
Period.
Really?
Now, that does not mean, I do not mean to say that I don't think horror films deserve Oscars. I think they absolutely fucking do. I hope The Substance fucking wipes the floor, clears it. I hope they win every damn one of them. And I feel like Toni Collette was robbed by not
100%.
By not even being nominated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am all for that. Natalie Portman should have got for Black Swan. You know what I mean? Florence Pugh should have been nominated for Midsummer. Lupita Nyong'o should have been nominated once or twice by now, you know? So I am totally fine with them being nominated because they'd be great fucking films. But the horror genre is the punk rock of film. Okay? They are underground. It is anti-establishment. The whole purpose of a horror film is to kind of repulse you in one way or another, is to turn you away and make you uncomfortable in one way or another, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, whether it's just that's going to, that is what a horror film is supposed to do. Okay? And horror becoming mainstream enough that it is now recognized by the Oscars. What is it now? It's like I say, the best correlation is to punk rock. Punk is supposed to be outside of the mainstream. It is anti-establishment in that. So when Henry Rollins was doing Calvin Klein ads, dude, that's it. You're not punk anymore.
Wait, Henry Rollins did Calvin Klein ads?
Oh, yeah.
Did he? Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, dude, it was
really?
Over. I didn't know he did it until I was over at a B&H on 34th, is that?
Okay.
The side of the building was Henry Rollins.
What year was this? I did not know that.
This was like maybe 2007.
Oh, so it was a long time ago. Okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And he's moved back that way. But Henry,
the dude was in shape, so...
Yeah. I'm not holding it against any of them who do that, but there's a point where you are no longer anti-establishment and you are now the mainstream. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When you have the Misfits selling tickets at $300 a pop, you are no longer a punk band. You are a mainstream popular rock metal band. That's not changing the sound. That's not changing. It is the aesthetic, the feeling. What punk rock is a rebellion. And you can't rebel against the system if you are the fucking system. You are a revolution. That's what punk rock is. That's what horror films are. It is a revolution. It is anti everything that the mainstream is. It is out of the spotlight. And it thrives in being that. The best horror films are the ones made by people with no money and no chance to make it, and they do. That is where you get the best ones. Now, every so often you get an Exorcist. You get a Hereditary. You get a big budget film that absolutely kills it because it's going to happen. You're going to get a great, well-made, high-budget horror film that just sweeps. You get It. The first one was great. Second one, not so much, but nonetheless, it was a good horror film. And every so often you get them. But horror in and of itself, I feel like once you make a category at the Oscars, now you're going to get Oscar bait horror films. And that's not a horror film anymore. It's just not. It's a scary movie.
I mean,
it's a scary movie. How many people have problems with Blumhouse just pumping out one crappy carbon copy after another? That is what the early 2000s were. It was just carbon copying, trying to replicate the success of something else. There was nothing original. There was nothing behind it. There was no meaning other than we need to make money. And once there is a best horror category at the Oscars, horror is officially, we're going to do it to make money. And every studio who's been shunning it, who never wanted to do it before, is suddenly going to be pumping out one Oscar bait horror film at a time. And they're just going to get dumber and emptier, prettier, higher budgets. But now you're going to have every fucking studio just making horror films, and none of them are going to be any interesting whatsoever. You know, Blumhouse has purposely kept it low budget and small. He keeps it short. All their horror films are under $5 million. They shoot them within a month, with the exception of the Conjuring films. And the Conjuring, I think, is a perfect example of big budget horror being done for the sake of profit.
That's Warner Brothers, though. That's not Blumhouse. Conjuring. Those are not his movies.
Oh, okay.
Insidious are his movies.
Insidious.
Yeah.
But look at that.
Yeah, regardless, yeah.
The Conjuring, they just keep pumping them out. And it's like, and that world just gets bigger and bigger. And it's like, what is the fucking point anymore? They're all the same movie over and over again with a new character. Oh, great. Here's the next Conjuring film.
My only defense, I guess, in why people want horror to be, I guess,
totally understand.
I think it's more about the filmmaker than it is the genre. I think people just are like, all right, this was a really good movie. It's a beautiful looking movie. It's a well acted film. This is why it deserves merit. This is why it should be acknowledged. I get that. I think that's where most people, that's how people are seeing it, you know?
I don't disagree with that.
I don't think it has anything to do with the genre. I really don't. I think it's just a good movie's a good movie, and that's more so, I guess, how people see it.
But that's just it too. That's not what the Academy is looking for.
I mean, I don't give it. Like, I'll be honest, dude. I've never been in an award. I just personally, I don't give a shit about that stuff.
No, I don't. I stopped watching it. But
even if I was a successful filmmaker, like making big movies, I still would just like whatever. I mean, I care as an indie filmmaker now. I don't give a shit about these. I hate to say this, these small film festivals that give out awards. Like, I don't, whatever. Like, so I'd rather you screen my movie and just get people to watch it. Yeah. Whether it's a short film, a feature film, whatever.
That's what I was going to say.
That's my perspective. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think of the Academy. The Academy, they're basically a film festival jury.
It's just a giant group. Yeah.
They want certain types of films.
Yeah. Oscar bait. That's where that term comes from. Yeah. So.
Exactly. And it's just like comic book movies. Well, how is this not recognized by the Academy? Because that's not the types of films they want to. Yeah. They want to award. They want to award high concept, dramatic, tear-jerking, life affirming. They want art house. You know that.
I mean, art house is really art house horror is what they're looking for. That's why like Hereditary and The Substance and shit like that.
Exactly that's why they get nominated, because it fits what they're already looking for. What I think the misconception is that the Academy is supposed to be some sort of authority on what makes a great film, but they're not. They're not. They're nothing different. They're just a group of people
love,
who like a certain.
Alfred Hitchcock. He never won an Oscar. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So
that's exactly it. That's what I think. People have the wrong opinion of what the Academy is. You know, they're not telling. The only reason that their opinion is held as high regard is because they have the money and the sponsors behind it to be shown on TV. Yeah. But what you really should be talking about is something like the Critics' Choice Awards or People's Choice Awards or the SAG Awards.
Public making the decision. Yeah.
Yes. You know, or the other filmmakers, the SAG Awards, where the
Aren't the Golden Globes a bit more
Yes.
lenient and it's not a committee that's, I mean, there's a committee, but like there's more, they're more open to other
and
stuff.
that's the reason why people believe that the substance was actually given that, because usually the Oscars are after the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
They announce after, so they kind of take that into account as to how people, and because she won at the Golden Globes, it's like, how the fuck has Demi Moore not won an Oscar yet?
I know she's 62 years old and has never won an Oscar. It's crazy. G.I. Jane came out in 97. She's great in that movie. I don't know what the hell happened there.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. I don't think a movie like we'll never see a movie like a slasher like Longlegs be nominated for an Oscar. Like something like that is never going to be. But I could see why, and this will date this episode quickly, but I can see why The Substance is nominated. You know?
I can totally see it,
because of that.
And that's where I look at it. I say, well, if you create a horror category and that's the type of horror film they're looking for, you're basically saying, well, we need to give A24 the best film every year. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just need to give that every year. You know, like now you're going to have studios trying to make The Substance, and you can't.
Yeah.
That's what makes the horror films that have won Oscars win, is just that they are that special and they are that, I hate the term, but elevated.
Yeah.
They are great films, and there are plenty that have been totally overlooked, and it's simply because they're horror films. Hereditary was overlooked simply because it's a horror film.
Yeah, that's a great movie too. So,
and it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's it sucks, but I mean, there's only been a handful of films that have even been nominated and made it that far. I think Silence of the Lambs was a big one,
but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I think that's good. I would like to see more nominated, but I don't want a horror category.
You don't want it to become a trend.
Yeah, yes, exactly it.
Yeah,
exactly it. That's why I say it correlates what you're saying about the T-shirts, where these guys, they're doing something different. They made horror shirts popular, and now that they are popular, what the fuck what is this? What are you giving us now?
Yeah.
And I feel
churning out stuff just because.
Exactly.
I mean,
and I feel that's what will happen to studio horror. If you give them an Oscar category, now they're just gonna churn shit out.
We'll see soon enough. We'll see it. We'll see now in March, I think. So we'll see what happens if the Substance takes it home.
I hope they do. I think she deserves it.
Yeah,
totally deserves it.
We both had it in our top 5 of 2024. So so I'm hoping so too.